Jesus is the reason for the season. Why Jesus Christ came to earth? Here we are at another Christmas season. This is the time where we spent millions of pesos to purchase gifts for family and friends. Christmas is the greatest commercial time of the year because we run to the stores to purchase all types of items for gifts and put many merchants in the black profit. At the same time, there are those that adamantly claim that Jesus Christ is the reason for the Christmas season. If someone from another planet would look down on the earth at Christmas time, I doubt very seriously if they would get the idea that Jesus Christ is the reason for the season. Instead, they would find that this particular time of year is rough with joyous celebrations, gift giving, high suicide rates, the increased awareness of the unfortunate, and a ritualistic increase in church meeting attendance. Christmas is indeed a joyous time of year. This is a season where family and friends get together for dinner and gatherings. Now I am reminded of an observation that I have made over the last 4 years. An instance of that observation is that people do not listen to each other and therefore do not deal with each other in realistic terms. People tend to deal with each other according to their own concept and perceptions of things, or that is personal overview. For example, you might tell your spouse that you don't like hugging or that you feel uncomfortable being hugged or hugging anyone. Your spouse might respond with a hug. I might add with something like, you know you like my hugs. Come here. He or she missed the point because he or she was not listening to his or her spouse. One put their perceptions over and above or what the spouse was revealing about himself or herself. The situation regarding hugging was not dealt with in a realistic manner according to the spouse that says he or she has a problem with it. The same principle applies to many things, and Christmas is one of those things. We don't look at Christmas as it really is. Instead, we look at it with the illusion that it is all about Jesus Christ. Sure, Jesus is incorporated into the season, but even a cursory look at the Christmas holiday would reveal that the season is not all but Jesus Christ. However, that I am referring to the practice of the Christmas holiday because my definition, it is all about Christ. The problem is that we don't practice that particular definition during the Christmas season. Also note that I am not saying that we do practice is wrong or bad. I am merely suggesting that we look at the Christmas season as it really is. So what is the purpose of Christmas? Some would say that the purpose of Christmas is directly related to Christ. However, historically and practically, that is far from the truth. Christmas is said to be the time of year where we celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. So what does that have to do with giving each other gifts, Christmas parties, and ritualistic feast? Could it be that Christmas is a bit more than merely a celebration of the birth of Christ? Indeed, if we would take a realistic look at what happened happens during the Christmas season and what we do during this season, then we would have to answer yes. This is not to say the gift giving, office parties, and feasts are bad or wrong. I am only pointing out the fact that the Christmas is not defined in practice as the celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ. Now, Christmas actually has a rich history that has very little to do with the celebration of Christmas birthday, which incidentally most likely did not occur in December. It is okay to recognize the birth of Christ, but doing merely that is insufficient best and is not much more than a pagan ritual of celebrating the birth of a God. If we don't realize the significance of that birth, then we are doing no more than participating in a religious ritual, which again is no greater than a pagan practice. However, if we understand the significance of Christ's birth, Christmas notwithstanding, then we do not much more. The awareness is not in the birth of Christ. Rather, the awareness is in the purpose of Christ. So instead of Christmas being merely a time to celebrate the birth of Christ, which is ritualistic or at best in practice, Christmas can be a season that we set aside to recognize the purpose of Christ, which was implemented by His birth. I know what you might be thinking at this point. What a way to start the lesson right before Christmas. Remember that my motive is the pursuit of the truth and not merely to present the traditional things that you are used to hearing. So, where am I going? What I want to highlight here is the purpose of Christ, since Christmas is said to be a celebration of His birth. So we're going to go on a journey to Christ and not Christmas. I want to present to you the purpose of Jesus Christ in spite of the Christmas season. I want you to know the purpose of Christ Christmas notwithstanding. What is Christmas? Let me now present to you the meaning of Christmas based on my observations. Christmas is the birth of Christ. The typical churchgoer will say that Christmas is the celebration or recognition of the birth of Jesus Christ. Christmas is a time of celebrating the birth of Christ. Christmas church services, Christmas parties at churches, and a plethora of festivals and meetings are how Christians implement the celebration. I find it very amusing sometimes when Christians tell me that Jesus is the reason for the season, and then spend hundreds or thousands of pesos to buy gifts for other people. What does that have to do with the birth of Christ? Again, religion has an answer. Religion says that our gift giving is a symbol of the greatest gift that God gave to the world, namely Jesus Christ. As God gave us the gift of eternal life through Christ, we celebrate or acknowledge that by giving each other gifts. I don't want to sound cynical, but in my mind that is very lame. Why not just be real? Why not simply admit that Christmas is a lot more than merely the celebration of Christ's birthday? In any case, to many Christians, Christmas, by definition, is the celebration of the birth of Christ, and He is the reason for the season. Christmas means gatherings and giving. However, as I said earlier, if you would look at the typical practices during the Christmas season, you would find that the reason for the season is much more than Jesus. The true reason for the season is that of gift giving and family gatherings. Christ seems to me to be more ritualistic during the season than a real part of it. However, I should recognize the fact that there are surely those that truly celebrate the birth of Christ as the primary objective during this time of year. I find this to be a minority, however. I would be that you spend more money for gifts during this time of year than any other time of year. I'm sure that you realize the high commercialization of this season. There are many more commercials on the radio and television attempting to solicit your fans. Merchants want your money. It's that plain and simple. You know that the Christmas season is the time of year where you are programmed to spend more money. Even charitable organizations take advantage of this time of year. They know that you are in the mood of giving during this time of year, so they solicit you for gift. Churches will have special food, drives, and dinners to feed the poor. Government will do special things for the homeless and less fortunate. We will celebrate family members that annoy us and pretend that we are having a good time and enjoying their company. We will play this hypocritical game because it's Christmas time. After all, we are supposed to have a giving heart during this time of year. This, of course, have nothing to do with Christ or His birth. Party time. To many other Christians and non-Christians, Christmas is a time to party. It is most likely that your place of employment had a Christmas party or two. Even those that are not Christians party during this time of year are designated Christmas parties. It's just air, I guess. Realistically, Christmas has little to do with the birth of Christ in practice. Historically, there is a lot more bundled into Christmas than merely the birth of Christ. However, Christmas has been designated as the time of year when we recognize, acknowledge, and celebrate the birth of Christ. I believe the greatest way to do this is to acknowledge His purpose. Celebrating Christ's birth is meaningless if we don't know whom He is and what He came to do. If we don't know that this then our celebration are no more than the birthday celebration of a brother or friend. It also wouldn't be much more than a pagan practice of celebrating the birth of a god.